Welcome back to Million Dollar Landscaper Podcast. Now, today I'm very excited for today's guest, Jeff Wraley of Groundwork. He is the founder and CEO of Groundwork. It's a virtual sales system for home improvement businesses. He's also an expert in technology for the trades, and he's helped out landscapers across North America by cutting out their wasted time setting up sales appointment and not getting their ideal job. Welcome, Jeff. Thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So, Jeff, you mind just sharing a little bit about your story and kind of how you developed this app and this program?
Yeah, so I actually have had my hands in some sort of a construction project since really I was in high school, when my dad and I built a deck off the back of our house outside of Indianapolis, and I just loved it. I love the math, I love the process, and just really, really enjoyed it, and ended up studying construction in college, and got a civil engineering degree, and then went into the workforce in commercial construction. And my wife's an interior designer, so have done a ton of stuff in and around our own house, and have made the often bad decision to do that work myself instead of leaving it up to the real pros. A good understanding of how, the construction world works from a nuts and bolts perspective. And picked up some business knowledge along the way as well. And just had a lot of experiences in and around the trades and around small business. And really, as we were working on our most recent renovation, really figured out that there's a challenge that residential contractors undergo when they're going through their sales process, and just realized that there's a lot of kind of wasted time and effort there, and decided to figure out a way to make contractors' lives better. And that's kind of the story behind Groundwork, and a little bit of my story as well.
Mm-hmm. No, you're exactly right. We see landscapers all the time that spend hours and hours, contacting, going back and forth with their customer, and going out there, doing all these estimates and designs, and not to get the job at all. So this is awesome. You created something to kind of go about it. So you mind sharing a little bit about what Groundwork is, and a little bit more detail than what I described?
Yeah. So we are largely a video-based system. So it's not like a Zoom type of thing where you're on the kind of FaceTime thing quite yet. We will likely develop something like that, but we have figured out an easy way for contractors to get video project walkthroughs from homeowners ahead of the sales appointment. Now, we aren't like an Angie's List. We don't get leads for contractors. We are simply a tool that contractors use to run a better sales process. So it's a white labeled system. We typically launch it on a contractor's website. It's pretty straightforward, really easy to use. We're up and running about a week with the team fully trained and the system fully customized for the contractor. And it's as much as it is a virtual sales tool, it is a very customized and personalized system for the business owners that I know you likely work with, that have grown the thing and have an interest in maintaining that personal connection with their customer base as well.
Mm-hmm. I love this. So, like we started talking about, landscapers go out basically, or I should start off back up here. A customer calls in, and then there's usually some phone tag that goes along, trying to get in hold of each other, find out what the person wants. And what we typically find is the customer may not know exactly how to even describe what they want. So I love this type of system where the customer can actually take control and actually walk around their yard or their property and show you as the contractor, what they actually want. And this gives you a lot more feedback and gives you an opportunity to kind of pre-qualify to see if you can even do that type of work, or if that's something you're even interested in. So I love this product.
Yeah. And, it's a really engaging way, customers that, our customers, contractors, we've gone to great strides to make sure that they are kind of the heroes of the story. So a lot of times, we're a small company. We're just, we've been at it for a couple of years, and but if we launch a contractor in a new market, they're very happy to be the only person in their market to have our tool, because it truly is a different way to present themselves to their ideal customers. It's very professional. It's, cuts out all the hassle of the phone tag for the homeowner. It's just a really slick way for a homeowner to get started, and kind of sets the bar pretty high. So, in this day and age where you want to start raising your prices and, increase margins, that starts with the perception of how you do business. And, so we set the bar pretty high in that respect on the front end of the sales process.
One of the things I think you said is very important there is how you said doing something different. And that's something, we need to try to veer off from the typical going back and forth. If you can set yourself apart by having something feature like this, the video portion of it, that sets you way above most of your competitors in your area. So this is amazing. So have you had or heard of any issues where the customer doesn't want to do this, or has this never been really of an issue?
Initially, we're very curious about that. I'm just a naturally curious person. So this whole thing started, I was like, hey, will this work? I asked the same question. Will homeowners want to do this? We've proven that they do want to. And those that, you certainly get, we hear from customers, our customers, contractors, that, hey, there's this point of feedback from the homeowner that they don't want to go through this process. That can be two things. One, it could be that like that homeowners just wants you to run out there and spend your time on a project that's probably not going to be the right thing for you. Which in that case, you probably don't want to mess around with that customer anyways, right? So that's one thing. But there are those kind of old school people, and we've actually developed a bit of a talk track to equip contractors with when they do have those conversations and people are kind of wary of this new way of doing things. And really what it's all about is just letting the homeowner know this is quicker for you. This is a better option for you. We're going to give you better feedback, quicker feedback, and we'll make sure, we get the right person out there to look at it when it comes to that point, or we can give you a ballpark estimate based on what we've seen and other projects that we've done that might be similar. So really pitching it as a win-win to the homeowners. Most of them get it right off the bat because it's just quick, and that's the way people are, want to do things anyways right now. And we'll continue to want to do that. But sometimes it takes a little massaging, but it's usually pretty easy to get people to come around to the idea.
Sure. No, I love that. One thing I was going to ask is, when you're doing this, and you touched on it briefly about the qualifying the leads, have you seen an increase on the people that are using the software to getting a better quality of lead? If they're not interested, they're not going to spend their time doing this, is what I would imagine. Is that what you're seeing?
Yeah, I mean, the metric, one of the metrics that we look at is how much time we are saving contractors in that sales process. How many times did they qualify a lead out of the sales process because they had our tool? And many times the return on investment is nearly immediate. Qualifying a lead that would have been a 45-minute trip across town, we hear that frequently. The first week of being up and running, it's a pretty quick realization of like, oh man, yes, that would have been a headache and a waste of my time, and I didn't have to do that. So it's a really powerful way to pitch it to contractors too. Is like, hey, we think that you're probably going to see some pretty quick return on investment with it. But that's definitely one of the things that we track, is just how quickly contractors can qualify their leads out of the sales process, so they end up running a more efficient sales process, and they get better. They can replace that time slot with a lead that's qualified. And that just bumps up all the other sales metrics that everybody tracks.
Sure. So you mentioned that this tool be basically placed on your website. So it's placed on the website, and the homeowner can just basically click on the button and it pops up a window for them to record, or how's it work?
Yeah, so we're text-based. So we actually, to ensure that we're on the mobile device for the homeowner's sake, we just send them a text message. It's a branded text message, and then the conversation continues from there. We send them a link to the customized survey, customized experience that we produce for each contractor we work with. And then they're off to the races. And then, we have some follow up and other collaboration tools past that initial project survey and video upload feature that just make it very easy for people to continue the process. But it's all about quick, easy communication, cut out the phone tag, really focus on the way that people want to communicate and the speed at which they want to get information from contractors.
Nice. So on the contractor side of things, so they get it like an email or is there a website they have to go to that, see how, if they got a lead or anything? How's that work from their end?
Yep. Yeah. So we have, it's all web based. So we provide logins for contractors. They have we call a lead dashboard, pretty simple to navigate way to manage a set of leads. And each lead comes into the dashboard as a card, and they get to message back and forth with those leads, request more files if they didn't include something in a video. You can ask for more video. We have some other features there, but yeah, it's a web login, accessible from any internet connected device, including your cell phone.
Nice. So once they get the lead, then they typically are given, or I guess I should ask, this is what you're seeing they're doing. They're getting the lead and they're responding back and kind of have the conversation back and forth, and then they can go out there and then do the presentation, or how are you seeing your landscapers using this?
Yeah, so it really depends. We have been kind of experimenting with some other features to walk down that process, but really what it comes down to is whatever the contractor's comfortable doing at that point. Sometimes it depends on the staffing model of that contractor, of the landscaper or hardscaper. Sometimes it depends on the type of work that they do. If it's a simple drainage job, as an example, if you got that might be a small percentage of what a landscaper does, but it looks like 40 feet of drain tile. Like, you might throw a pretty tight price range on that. And see how the homeowner reacts to that. So that's typically the next step. Typically the next step is just phone call. Like, hey, I saw your video. Thanks for sending it. Let's talk a little bit more about that. And then we also have some tools that allow the contractors to do some price range estimates. So, hey, we think your job's going to be between 25 and 30K. That type of price range estimate. And that's again another level of qualification that at some point becomes very, very important, right? If you're driving across town and you haven't qualified to make sure that this person is willing to pay the price that it's going to take to get that work done, there needs to be some realignment there. So we start to have that conversation. We've got some tools that help to have that conversation, but really it's pretty flexible in that respect too. Just kind of how the contractors want to roll it, what the process wants to be. We can help facilitate almost anything.
Nice. So I was earlier before the show started here, I was actually looking at some of the landscapers that are actually using this through your program on your website. And I love how they have like a whole separate page on their websites talking about, to receive the estimate. And they actually have a whole sales process they explain through like on video form. And I love this idea. I don't really see a whole lot of landscapers doing this. Is this something you help set up, or is this an idea you give them, or is this something they thought up on their own?
I think what you're referring to is just like, hey, step 1, step 2, step 3 type of stuff. Yeah. So yeah. We consult pretty heavily with the contractors that sign up with us on their web strategy. So we prefer a separate page for our form that depicts what's going to happen for that homeowner. A lot of times one of the problems, there are many problems with what I call the boring contact us forms. Those forms, there's zero joy in a contact us form. And mostly because the homeowner doesn't know what in the world's going to happen. And so we work with contractors to make it very clear on those, sometimes we call them virtual quote pages, what is going to happen. So we spell it out. We like when contractors spell it out. We actually have some tools, and our customer success manager works with each contractor and their web team to make it happen on the website. Now, sometimes we work with a web team, but if a contractor has their own website and kind of has freedom and the accessibility to get in there, we are happy. Lots of times it's quicker for us to just go ahead and drop in a new page or drop our script on the page and do the edits ourselves. We're more than capable to do that. So but that's a big part of it, is just messaging to the homeowner. Why is this a good thing for you to do, Mr. Homeowner? And when we do it the right way, it's really, really compelling.
Mm-hmm. No, I can definitely see the benefit to doing that. And I love how you have your team help the contractor set everything up. That's amazing. That's huge for customer support for you.
Yeah,
Um, but I definitely agree 100% having some kind of sales process and having the video format, or even if you just type it out, but having, okay, step 1, do this, step 2, do this, step 3, do this. To me, it makes it so much easier, and it gives the customer kind of a path of the steps they need to follow. They know exactly what's going to happen next. Because a lot of times I see landscapers, and I did this myself. I would go out and give a customer, go out there, meet with them, give them the estimate, and then you never hear anything back from them, or you didn't know where it was going to go from there. But they
right.
also didn't know on their end. So I love this.
Yeah.
It works out really well. So you said it takes about a week for somebody, once they contact you, to kind of get all this set up. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's my a bit of a under promise and over deliver number there. We have, I think, Nikki, our customer success lead. I probably have an email from her because I signed up a customer today and he wanted to launch tomorrow. So in a pinch, we can move mountains, but typically it's just on the schedule of kind of getting everybody moving in the right direction. After sign up, we do the customization, we do a launch call, and that launch call is kind of a mini training session, make sure everybody's logged in, get any tweaks to the system and to the website stuff that we need to. So a week is a good number.
Is there anything else you want to add about Groundworks that I didn't cover here?
We do it. I think you did a great job kind of leading the conversation. Other than, I mean, we are very much working on additional functionality. So the way that we see the world, homeowners want things quick, easy, and virtual. That is, the buying process is going that way. If you don't believe it, then good luck the next couple of years in business as things start to change. So our goal is to just facilitate that buying process, to make it easy for contractors to adopt that type of sales motion, but also just make it a pleasure for homeowners to get started with a contractor. I think there's a mini mission for our company is, contractors get a bad rap, and a lot of times it's for good reason, right? Not returning phone calls, shoddy work, don't stand behind the work, all that stuff that you hear, right? But what I am, why I love what we do and the customers we have is because contractors that we work with, most of all, are just awesome people. They're entrepreneurial, they're smart people, they want to do the right thing. And so we're just continuing to develop our tool to help them be the awesome people that they are, and provide a service to their customer base that's really top notch. So more to come on the product functionality. We got some fun things coming down the line.
Mm-hmm. One thing actually I saw, I believe it was on your website, something you had a blog post talking about Amazon and how we need to kind of relate to that. And I wholeheartedly agree with that, because I've said this, it's becoming an Amazon world. Everybody wants it now, or they want it yesterday, basically,
Yeah.
and they want it very simple. So I think this system definitely will go in line with all that.
Yeah. And I mean, there's all sorts of stuff with you know, robots are far from, in a factory setting, yeah, there's some crazy stuff going on with the automation and, everything that can be done in that controlled setting. But the reality is each home is different. And there are so many variables there that it's going to be a long time until it's truly, truly cookie cutter stuff. But there's a lot that can be done, starting with the sales process, that we can really start to systematize some of this stuff and make it quicker and more pleasurable for a customer and a contractor to start the sales conversation together.
Mhm. One other thing too, I guess I can see the benefit, especially nowadays with COVID and everything. There, you might get some of those customers that do not want to have you out there. I know, especially at the beginning, it was really bad. At least in our area, it seems to lessen up a little bit, but I can definitely see the benefit here with this
Yeah,
app.
yeah, we got really busy when COVID hit.
Yeah.
We are really busy, and we're still experiencing the same way that Zoom, their usership probably hasn't decreased a whole lot. There's just tailwinds to this whole massive shift in the way that we live, work, play, and relate to each other. It's just kind of moved I think for us, for our business, it's moved that customer base of contractors forward into a buying position where they're like, hey, we should probably start to think about our strategy in this virtual world. So it's helpful for us. But I will also say that it's not just the COVID trend that's pushing it. It was going before that. I mean, I had the customer tell me that I was right when COVID hit. She's like, you're either really smart or really lucky. And I said, well, maybe I hope to think it's a little bit of both, but the trend is coming, right? I'm 36. I'm the older age bracket of millennials, but if in 5 years the average home buyer is not going to want, not because of COVID, they're not going to want you to come out to their house because they don't want to talk to they want to talk to you, until you prove that it's worth their time. They just want to get through the process, and that's okay. It's different, but our goal is to provide systems that make that okay. And make it easy for everybody to communicate.
Yeah. No, I love this, and um, I'm actually going to start telling the people in our Million Dollar Academy to check out this system, because actually one of our members, he does it. He just does it through like just text message, but this is such an easier system, and you can implement it real easy in your website and just make it streamlined and just automate it almost to the point. That's amazing. It's huge.
Yep. Yeah. It's a very pro version. A lot of contractors do try to get pictures, and there's compression of the files, and the videos are too long, and there's a lot of headaches with it. Our system just makes it very, very easy, very streamlined, and frankly, it's just a lot more professional of a way to do things. But when we hear somebody's trying to get those media assets, our team's like, okay, good. They're going to see this and they're going to really, really like it, So it's fun to see that people are really adopting that. It makes all the sense in the world to move towards this.
Sure. And I can just see one benefit to one of our people in our academy. They're actually from LA, and they're saying drive times just to even get to the site sometimes is an hour and a half, and
Yep.
just the time you'd save from having to do that with your software, it's huge.
Yeah, we've got a painting contractor. We work with a lot of hardscape landscape contractors, but in some other trades too. But she's in the Florida Keys, and if you've ever been to Florida Keys, there's literally one road, and it's a long way to get anywhere. So same type of thing. If you're in Chicago, New York, those other places, the traffic time alone can be certainly a challenge.
Yeah, no, it's definitely if you're not using some type of system, get out there, check this system out. Can you mind sharing how people can get hold of you?
Yeah. The best way is to hit the website. Website's hellogroundwork.com, spelled just like it sounds. Hopefully, I didn't butcher it too bad.
I'll
And
put the link
then,
in the.
yeah, there you go. And feel free to reach out. I'm happy to drop my email, jeff@hellogroundwork.com. Reach out if you have any questions. Let us know. We actually have what we call a self-guided demo on the website too. You can kind of go through the experience from the homeowner's eyes, get to see how it works a little bit, and then we can kind of pick up the conversation from there if you think it might be a fit.
Yeah, and one thing I would say too, when you go to this website, check out some of the contractors actually using. You can see some of the names of the companies and go to their website, see how easy they have it set up and laid out. And Jeff and his team can help you get you set up to get you up and running. And it's it's a be a game changer for you and sets you way above your competition in your area. So definitely check it out.
Yeah, appreciate that.
All right, Jeff, you got a couple minutes for some fun questions here.
We'll see how I do here. Yeah,
Okay,
it's like the version of rapid fire here.
that's right. That's right.
All right.
All right. First one. What do you value most in your friends?
I think I value jokes and laughter in friendship. My kids certainly make me laugh. My wife is also hilarious, but um, yeah, I think laughter in friendship is a huge plus. Day to day
Absolutely.
stuff. Have a beer and a laugh with your friends. That's good stuff.
There you go. We need more of that nowadays.
Yep, I agree.
All right. Um, what was the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
Ever been given? I think a wise man has many counselors. I think that's actually a Bible verse, like a psalm or something like that. But I think there's a lot of truth to that. Whenever um, I talk to entrepreneurs or other people in the technology game or growing a small business, seek out a lot of different points of advice. Everybody's got their own spin on what you should do or how you should do this or that, but triangulate things for yourself using the information you can gather and suggestions from a bunch of people who you know and trust. I think that's a really smart way to do things.
I think that's a great one. All right. And the last one here. What's the worst job you ever had?
I don't know if I've had a worse job.
Okay.
The most it sounds like a bad job, but I'm actually thankful for it. I think I was probably my mom had hooked me up with a Pachysandra, which you probably know what Pachysandra is, a ground cover
Yep.
farm, I guess, for lack of a better term. And if you cut the head off of a Pachysandra, that has a little bit of value because you can replant it and then you grow a better Pachysandra, right?
Uh-huh.
So that little bit of value was a penny. So every head of Pachysandra I cut, I would get a penny. I was like 14 years old at this point, or maybe even 12. But that it was a hard job. It was a very hard job, bent over for hours and hours on end. But I mean, grand scheme of things, that it's really looking back, started my landscaping business in high school and getting into construction on the commercial side, and now doing what I'm doing. So there you go.
Nice. Set you up for some labor early
That's
on.
right. Yeah.
Nice. Well, Jeff, I appreciate you being on the show today. Anything else you'd like to add?
I don't think so. This is really fun.
Okay.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to talking to you again. And everybody, definitely go check out Groundworks, hellogroundwork.com. It's a tool you definitely need to start implementing in your business. Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate you for being on the show. Have a great one.
Yep. Thanks, Scott.
Yep. Bye bye.